We acknowledge that we were founded on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, the Attawandaronk, the Mississauga and Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and now live on land that is home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We have many representatives working across this land now known as Ontario, and we acknowledge that there are 46 treaties and other agreements that cover the territory. We are grateful to be able to work and live on this land, and thankful to the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people who have cared for these territories since time immemorial, and who continue to contribute to the strength of Ontario and to all communities across the province. To continue to center reconciliation, we encourage our team, partners, students, and teachers to take time to learn about the lands they are currently on. Visit native-land.ca for more information.
All right, hello everyone. I'm Madison and I'll be your host from Eggscape today. So Eggscape and Farm and Food Care are very excited to be able to host another virtual field trip today and learn all about food and agriculture during Ontario Agriculture Week. So thanks for joining us today at Lizton Acres Farms to meet farmer Cassie and learn all about her dairy farm. So today we'll be taking a tour of the farm to see how milk is produced, from caring for the cows and seeing how the milk gets all the way to the grocery store. So feel free to send in any questions that you have into the chat, and hopefully Farmer Cassie can have an opportunity to answer them. All right, so here is Cassie. Why don't you take over and introduce yourself and start us on our tour?
Awesome. Thanks, Madison. Good morning, everyone. My name is Cassie, and I'm going to take you on a tour of our dairy farm today. So a little bit of background about our farm. We are located just outside of Cambridge, Ontario. Right now, we're milking about 170 cows on our farm, and this farm has been in our family for over 50 years, so that's pretty cool. So right now, I am in our milk house. So that's what we call the area where we have our bulk tank, which I'll show you in just a minute, where we prep our bottles to feed our calves and different things like that. So I'm going to turn my camera around here. So welcome to our milk house. So this right here is what we call our bulk tank. This stores all of the milk that our cows produce, and it keeps it nice and cold for the milk truck driver to come pick it up. So our milk gets picked up every other day. And we have two different drivers that come to our farm. One is Mr. Trevor and the other one is Mr. Colin. And they come, and I will turn you around here. They will come in our laneway. They'll back up to the front of our barn. And right here, there is a little flap. So on their milk truck, they have a big hose that they take off the back. It goes through this flap here, and it would connect to the bottom of our bulk tank here. So they would unscrew this part, they would open up the valve, and that's how the milk moves from our big bulk tank onto the milk truck. But before they do any of those things, they test the milk first. So at the top of the tank, there's a little opening that they can access, and they will take a milk sample. They do a quick test here to make sure everything is good, that the milk is the right temperature, different things like that. They test for something called bacteria. They also test for something called somatic cell, which is like a high white blood cell count. So they test for those things. If we get the thumbs up, it's all good. Then they transfer that milk from the tank into their truck, and then they take it to what we call the dairy or the processing plant. And it is there that milk all gets tested again, and they do even more in-depth tests just to make sure everything is safe. And then they will turn the milk into different products, such as milk you drink, yogurt, cheese, ice cream, all those tasty, tasty things. I see a question here. How much milk can fit in our bulk tank? Our bulk tank here can hold about 10,000 liters. Now, there's different sizes of bulk tanks. Some can hold more, some can hold less. But for our herd, ours holds 10,000 liters. And like I said, it gets picked up every other day. So that is our bulk tank. Over here, turn this around again. This is sort of our control system here. So this controls the wash. This tells our truck drivers the temperature of the milk before they transfer it onto the truck. After the milk gets picked up, this whole tank gets washed out, and all the pipelines and everything get washed out and disinfected. So that happens every single time the milkman comes. And when I show you our parlor, the parlor gets washed every single day, twice a day, to ensure that everything is clean and sanitized, keeping your milk safe for when you get it in the grocery store. How often do you have to replace your milk vault? So this big tank here, thankfully, this is the tank that has been here for quite some time, not all 50 years, even though we've been farming that long. This tank has been in here since 2008. So, you need to get it fixed every once in a while, like if there's something wrong with the cooler or things like that. But the tank itself is all good. Thankfully, it's pretty expensive, so thankfully we don't have to replace that very often at all. So I'm going to take you for a little walk here, and I'm going to show you where we milk the cows. Turn my camera around. All right, so this is what we call the milk parlor. So ours is a 12 swing. So what that means is we have 12 machines, and you can see here that they can swing back and forth. So we can milk cows on this side, and we can also milk cows on this side. So we can milk 12 cows at a time. But if you add 12 and 12, that makes 24. So we can have 24 cows in our parlor at one time. So what happens is our cows get milked at 5 o'clock in the morning and about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So just shy of 12 hours. And when they come in through the back here. And I'll walk over there so you can see it a little bit better. So this area here is what we call our holding area. So all of the cows would gather in here, and when it's their turn, these gates open up with a special lever, and then the cows can walk in, and they know how to stand in their row. So when the cow is standing in its row, you're going to see the udder right here. So their head is going to be facing that concrete wall. Their back end, their udder is going to be here. And basically what we do first is we dip the cow's teat ends. So we use something called iodine, and that cleans it. It gets any manure, any dirt off of their teat ends. So we dip it, and then we wipe them off with a paper towel to dry it off. That gets it nice and clean, and that actually gets the cow to let their milk down. So then they're ready to be milked. So then what we do is we have our machines here. I'll pop this off. So a cow udder has 4 teat ends. So that's why there's 1, 2, 3, 4 little vacuum hoses on this machine. So basically, all we have to do is push the button right here, and this machine acts like a little vacuum. So after the cows are all dipped and wiped, we turn this machine on, we stick it onto the cow's teat ends, and it's just like a vacuum. And when there's little sensors inside here that when the cow is done milking and the milk has slowed down, the machine comes off by itself. So we don't have to take it off. It just falls off on its own. A question that I get asked quite often is, does it hurt the cows? Not at all. The cows actually like to be milked. If they get too full of milk, they get very uncomfortable. So they very much enjoy being milked. And as soon as they're done being milked, they get to go have something to eat again and lay down. So they are big fans of that. Something else I'm going to show you here before I put this all the way back on. So this is our little tray that holds all the milk machines. You can see each milk machine has its own special tray. And right here, these little spokes, there's holes at the top. And when the machines are being washed after every single milking, your detergent, your disinfectant, your water comes out these little spouts here, and it would go up into the milk machine hoses. It would clean out the canister here, clean out this hose line, and up here you can see all the different pipelines that we have. It would all the detergent and cleaner would go through all of those pipelines as well. So when we put the machines back on, we got to make sure that they are on good and tight so that they don't fall off when it's time to turn on the wash. Is there any questions about that? Oh, what happens if a cow is sick and you milk it? So if a cow is sick and needs to be treated with medicine, like an antibiotic, that it is milked completely separately. That milk does not go into that bulk tank that I showed you in the milk house. It gets milked completely separately, and that milk would get poured down the drain. So it is not going into the milk or any of the dairy products that you have at your grocery store. What happens if the milk gets a thumbs down? Well, nobody wants a thumbs down for their milk, but if you get that, I will show you what happens. In the milk house, there are drain holes in the floor, and basically what would happen is they would unscrew the bottom of the tank and let the milk out, and it would go all the way down the drain. And that is not something that anyone ever wants. So that's why it's very important that we take good care of our animals and that we are very careful when we are milking our animals so that, yeah, like I said, if an animal is sick and needs to be treated with medicine, it's not getting into your milk supply that you are having at the grocery store. Good questions. Any other ones? How long does it usually take to fully milk a cow? So for each cow, it takes about 3 to 5 minutes to fully milk them. That's your dipping, your wiping, and the actual milking process. It's about 3 to 5 minutes. So we usually, for us to do what we call chores, so milking the cows, feeding calves, feeding the cows, all those different things, it usually takes us about 2.5 to 3 hours to get it all done. That includes cleaning up, like washing everything down. That big holding area I had showed you, we have to wash down after every milking. The parlor itself, we wash down, we pressure wash, make sure it's all clean. So it's about 2.5 to 3 hours for us to do chores. Now, if it's a smaller farm, it's going to take a little bit less. If it's a bigger farm, it's going to take longer. Maeve in kindergarten is asking, how big is the milking room? So the milk house room, I'm not sure of the exact measurements. I know the measurements of the entire barn. It's about 75 feet wide and 275 feet long. So this milking room, I can actually, let me count, and I will measure it for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. This milk room is probably about 20 feet wide. That is a great math question, Maeve. All right, I'm going to take you to go see some cows now. Yep, we're going to go right now, Caitlin, to go see a cow. Okay, turn my camera around here. This is our handy dandy skid steer. This thing does a lot of work for us in one day. We use this to mix feed for the cows. We use this to deliver feed to the calves that are out in the pasture right now. We use it to push up the feed to the cows, to unload trucks when they come with supplies. It does all sorts of things. So that's why it's pretty dirty right now, but it does a good job. So here are our cows. This is what we call our feed alley because this is where we keep the feed, and we can walk and drive up and down this alley. I don't know if you can see it. Way back there is our feed mixing tractor, and it can drive up and down this road to spit out the feed for the cows. So you can see they're all curious. They're wondering, what on earth is Farmer Cassie doing today? So I'll show you our feed here. So this is what cows eat, and we call this TMR, and that stands for Total Mix Ration. What do you think? Does that look like a yummy lunch to you guys? Probably not, but the cows love it. So in here we have hay, we have what we call corn silage, sometimes we put in cob meal, there could be roasted beans in here, there's water, all different sorts of things. We also add minerals and salt because that is very important for the cows' health and nutrition. So that is what cows eat, and they eat all the time. So they always, always, always have feed in front of them, as you can see. So we push up feed lots of times throughout the day because you can see here, well, after they've eaten quite a bit, there's a bit of a space. So we use that skid steer to push up the feed so it's closer to the cows so they don't have to reach so far. Our cows also like to drink lots and lots of water. Did you know a cow can drink almost a bathtub full of water each day? Almost 200 liters per cow. So lots of water all the time. And what you can see here, I don't know if you can see it very well, that yellow brush is spinning. That's like a little back scratcher. So we have a couple of those in our barn where the cows can walk underneath them and it'll give them a nice little back scratch. They love that. This is also what we call a free stall barn. So what that means is our cows, just going to stand up here on the ledge, our cows can walk around freely. They can pick wherever they want to lay down. They can pick wherever they want to eat. They can pick wherever they want to walk. So they're always nice and comfortable. And these ladies are sort of blocking my view right now. But our cows, what their stalls are bedded with is sand. So the reason that we bed our stalls with sand is because it's clean. It helps to keep the cows cleaner. And it also is better for preventing problems with their udder. It just, like I said, keeps everything cleaner, prevents problems with the udder. So think about when you go to the beach after you've been laying around or sitting down on the sand for a while. Where even sitting gets a little bit hard, right? And a little bit uncomfortable. So we make sure that we always fluff up the sand for the cows. So at every milking time, we always rake out any of the manure that may be in the stalls and we fluff up the sand for them so they're nice and comfy cozy. And every single week we put in fresh sand. So we have dump trucks come, they deliver sand to our farm, and we put fresh sand in the stalls every single week. Just to make sure that our cows are comfy and that they're happy. Over here, we have a question. If the cows eat all day, do they have time to relax? They sure do. You can see some are eating and some over here are laying down. They get to do whatever they want, whenever they want. Good question. Can both male and females be milked? No, so only females can be milked, and only after they've had a calf or a baby cow, they can be milked. How old does a cow have to be before you can milk it? They're usually around 2 years old by the time they've had their first calf. So from 2 years old and up is when they can be milked. Good questions. How do they drink water? Let me show you. We have water troughs in our barn. So you can, I don't know if you can see it very well. Right there, there's a water trough. We have water troughs down there. And we have more water troughs at the other end of the barn. So there's lots of places where they can drink water. Do the cows get to go outside? They sure do. So on our farm, we have lots of pasture land for our cows. When it's really, really hot in the summertime, we actually put them out at night because the cows don't like it when it's really hot. They get very uncomfortable. They can be sort of fussy, to be honest. So they like it when it's nice and cool. Like weather today is one of their absolute favorites. From this temperature to about 3 degrees is their favorite kind of temperature. So what we do when it is really hot in the summertime, though, we have fans that run the whole length of our barn here. And they help to keep the cows nice and comfy in the summer when it's really, really hot too. So because it's not so hot today, they're not all turned on. We have some turned on today, but not all of them. In the summertime, though, they are all on to keep those cows nice and comfy. You can also see that it's open on the sides of our barn here. So when it's nice outside, nice and warm, not too cold, we keep these sides open. in the wintertime, when it is freezing and snowing and blowing, we have what you call, and it's sort of funny because we don't have them here, but we have what you call turkey curtains. So even though this is a dairy barn, these curtains are called turkey curtains, and you can see that they're rolled up right now. So basically, it's like curtains in your house that you can pull down, and they would cover up sort of basically what is like a screened-in window. So those would go the whole length of the barn, and that helps keep the barn a little bit more comfortable in the winter. It's still cold in here, but not freezing cold. So the cows are still nice and comfy. Can you explain the different names for the cows? So a cow versus a heifer. Great question. So a cow is a female that has had a calf and is able to be milked. A heifer is a female cow that has not had a calf, so it's not being milked yet. So that's the difference between the two. That was a really good question. So you can see they're all very happy eating. Are the cows friendly or do they bite? Cows are very friendly and they are very, very curious. They are always wondering what's going on. As you can see, they're watching me, wondering what I'm doing right now. But no, they don't bite. They do, I'm going to go out to the calves right now. They do like to suck on your fingers a little bit, and their tongue tastes like sandpaper. Another fun fact, we'll see if I can get this one to smile for me. Cows only have one row of teeth. We'll see if she'll open her mouth. I might have better luck with the calves. So cows don't have teeth on the bottom of their mouth. They only have teeth on the top. Do you name the cows? Some of our cows have names, but all of our cows have ID numbers. So they have tag numbers, and I'll show you on the calves because you'll be able to see them better. They have ID numbers, and there's also a little button on their ear tags that is called an RFID tag, and that is for tracking purposes. So if our cows were to go to another farm or something, it's all about tracking so that they know where the cow came from and where it's going, all those different things. Oh, and we are right on time. The calves are getting some water right now. So our calves get water in the late morning. Early in the morning, I go out and I feed them milk. And then in the afternoon, when we do afternoon milking, they get fed milk again. So I will show you. These ones are done already. They were thirsty. So these are our calves. So these calves live in what we call a calf hutch. So it's this white little building here, and they have a little gated area so that they can come out, they can get fresh air, they have access to food. This is what we call our bottle holder, so that would hold the milk if there was milk in the bottle. It holds water right now. This one is all done, it's empty. So our calves here, they are bedded with sawdust. So we give them fresh bedding as needed. So if we notice that they're getting damp or dirty inside, we give them fresh bedding. So in the winter time, that's every day, sometimes twice a day even. But in the nicer weather, when it's not wet or anything, you can go a couple days typically without it. So I'm going to find one that has 2 tags to make it nice and easy for you. Here we go. So you guys were asking me about their names and numbers. So you can see that this calf, oh yeah, she's gonna get my finger here. So she has tag number 219. And in this ear, if you can see it, there's a little button. So that's that RFID tag that they use for tracking purposes. But this calf we would call 219. She doesn't have another special name. She's just 219. Some of the cows in the barn though that we've had for a long time, we do have names for them. Not all of them, but some of them we do. Now, I had seen a question come up. I think it was, how long have I been farming? So I grew up on a farm. So I've been involved in farming my entire life. I actually used to be, so I went to school to be a teacher. So I taught a lot of kindergarten up to grade 6, but mainly kindergarten. And I did that. And then I used to work for Agscape, the organization that's putting on this tour for you guys. I used to work for them for a few years, and now I am farming full time with my husband because we are taking over the family farm. So that's sort of my story with that. Jonah would like to know what a cow's average lifespan and what is your oldest cow? Well, you know what? A lot of that depends on the genetics of the cow and how well they're taken care of. So we have some cows here that are pretty old. I think our oldest one right now is about 11 years old. Now, are all of our cows that old? No. We do. You do want to have younger cows too because they do have better what we call milk production. They produce milk better. But yeah, as if they are comfortable and healthy and well taken care of, they can live a very, very long life. Good questions. How many cows do you have and how many get milked a day? So right now we're milking about 170 cows in our barn. So turn this around for you. Our big red barn here, there's we milk, this is the barn where we milk. So that door, remember the milk house I was showing you? That's the door you would take to go into the milk house. So we're milking about 170 right now, but between all of the calves we have outside and heifers that have not yet had their calf, we have about 320 animals here on our farm. So it keeps us very, very busy. Are we allowed to name a cow? Sure. Do you guys want to name calf number 219 that I had here? Maybe we can have a quick little vote. I'll turn it around. So this is calf number 219.
Everyone put your name suggestions in the chat and maybe and Cassie
and then maybe we can do a follow-up and do a post or something, and we'll have a picture of the calf with her name.
Perfect.
Awesome. Any other questions? I know we're cutting it close on time here.
Yeah, we have about 5 more minutes and we have lots of questions still. So maybe we'll just go through some more.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll wrap it up.
Clark would like to know, why do the cows and calves get separated from each other? Good question, Clark. And that's a question that we get a lot, actually. So the reason that we put the calves in these hutches here, and I'm going to turn it around again to show you, these hutches help to protect the calves because much like when a baby is born, they don't have a strong immune system. It's very easy for them to get sick. So the reason that we separate them is that we put these calves in the hutches. That way they are protected, or better protected, I should say, from catching sickness or disease. And also in the big red barn where we have all of our milking cows, if we had small calves running around with the big cows, it would be very, very hard to separate them and make sure that, the cows got where they needed to be and that the calves weren't getting stepped on and all different sorts of things like that. So that's why we put these calves in the hutches here. Now, when the calves are eating well and drinking well, they're typically a few months old. Then they move to the pasture group when it's nice outside. So in the spring, summer, and early fall, before it's nasty and cold out and we have lots of snow, our calves go out on pasture here. So you can see there's a group hanging out down there. So they'll go out here. And then in the winter time, when it's cold and they can't be outside on pasture, they will live in what we call our old barn. So that was the barn that my husband, Farmer Dirk, that his family used to milk the cows in when they first moved to this farm, which was in 1967. That's where they used to house all the cows and the calves. Back then, they weren't milking as many. I think they started with about 25. That was a great question. Any other questions? Has there ever been an infection in the farm, water, milk, etc.? And how do you manage infection and deal with the infected milk and cows? All right, very good questions. There's a few different parts there. So yes, cows do get sick sometimes, and we try to take care of them the best that we can, but very much like us as humans, they can get sick and these things happen. So when that does happen, like I said, we can treat them with medication if that's what they need to get better. Like I said, for the milk, they'll get milk separate, all those different things. If we need to, we can have our veterinarian come down and they will give us a hand or give us their professional opinion on what it is that we need to do. we also work with what we call a nutritionist. So when it comes to making that TMR, now put in the chat if you remember what TMR stands for. We have a nutritionist that we work with who helps us sort of put together the different ingredients, different amounts of the items that we need to make that mix, so that our cows stay as healthy and strong as possible. Now, temperature outside does make a big difference in the overall health of a cow. So when it's, cold and damp and rainy, and then all of a sudden the next day it's hot and sunny, that can be hard on a cow's system. So we have to monitor them very, very closely. Um, like keep a good eye on them, make sure that they are bedded properly. So like I was showing you in the hutches, the sawdust, things like that, proper bedding. In the wintertime, we even have coats that we can put on our animals to help protect them from the cold as well, so that they are not using all their energy to stay warm. There's lots of different things that we do to mitigate that. When it comes to feeding our calves, I showed you the ones that we were just giving water to that are drinking from a bottle. Those get disinfected every single time that they are used. So we're using them 3 times a day right now. They get disinfected every single time. Again, just to make sure that our calves are staying healthy and that they're not sharing or spreading any sort of illness.
Awesome.
How can kids get into learning and experiencing farming for themselves? Good question. Well, there's lots of different things you can do, and it's definitely going to depend on the area that you live. If you don't have direct access to a farm, checking out things like 4-H or Agscape would be a good one to start. They have lots of things for kids to do. If there's, like right now is the time of year where it's like pumpkin patches and corn mazes and things like that, go check out those different types of things. If you want to do some more research, looking at YouTube or different online resources where you can find out information about farming, but just make sure that it's coming from a good source, right? There's lots of things out there on the internet that are false and not true, so make sure the information that you're getting does come from a source that is a reputable one, I would say. All right, last question. Was there one more, or is that it for today?
We should have one more for you.
All right.
What is your favorite thing about being a farmer?
That is a loaded question. That's actually probably one of the hardest ones I've been asked. You know what? There's a lot of different things that I love about being a farmer. Being able to be outside, working outside, working alongside my husband, Farmer Dirk, getting to raise our kids out here. We have 2 little boys. One is 5 and one is going to be 2 really soon. Getting to, live here with them, teaching them about farming and, the work that goes into it. And it's sitting down at the end of the day and thinking about, what you did over that day. And some days are good and other days are hard and tiring and things like that. But you know what? Being able to see, I guess, like the product of the work that you're doing, that is a wonderful, wonderful feeling.
Amazing. Well, I wanted to say thank you so, so much. I know that a lot of us watching buy milk products from the grocery store, and it's awesome to see how it is brought to the grocery store and how the cows produce everything and how you take care of them. So thank you so much for showing us. We do have a lot of ideas for calf names. I thought we could put some up.
All right.
Maybe I'll send out an email afterwards to everyone with the final decision.
Oreo, Patricia, Tabitha, Lily, Chloe from Nahi Ridge. Hello, Nahi Ridge. That's the school I used to teach at. Small world. Bessie, Pickle, and Zelda. All right. I think I'm probably going to need a list of these, and I will pick one, and then Madison, she can send it out to all the teachers that signed up today, because there's a lot of good ones.
Oh, there's a lot of good ones.
Awesome. That's great. One more thing I do want to mention before I have to go is when you're at the grocery store, there is a very important thing that you need to look for now when you're buying dairy products. If you didn't know already, make sure you look for the blue cow logo. And that shows that it is a Canadian dairy farm that produced that milk to make that dairy product.
Amazing. Well, thank you again so much. Thank you, everyone that was watching. You had amazing questions. And yeah, thank you for joining us at Lizton Acres Farms today. Thank you again, Farmer Cassie. It was awesome to see everything. And I hope everyone enjoyed learning for Ontario Agriculture Week. And we have a couple more virtual field trips coming up in the next couple of days. So feel free to sign up for those.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. Have a great day, everyone.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.